Hi folks, everybody amazing. Today we're going to be talking about a video I did on Jubilee that went live yesterday. At least I think it went live yesterday. I'm not entirely sure because I've been traveling. As you can see, I'm not in my regular setup, but I still have some time to make videos. So I'll probably be dropping a few more over the next couple of days because, you know, one of my debate opponents, Matt Nuclear, has been making some very interesting statements and has been attacking me indiscriminately on X, while constantly taking me out of context. But that's a topic for another video that we'll get to later, as I said. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys a short reaction and commentary on this debate on Jubilee. It was definitely a very interesting experience. Fun thing to do. I know Dean and Parker were being very snarky at the end about how awful it felt and all that kind of stuff. But I gotta be honest with you guys, I did have a lot of fun. Maybe it was just me, but I genuinely enjoy talking to people I disagree with and people I agree with. I like debating ideas. I don't really care about how I look. I don't really care about optics. It's just useless, I think. Obviously, some people can make a grift out of it, and a lot of people call me a grifter, but I am genuinely more interested in debating ideas honestly. I don't believe in partisan games and all that other nonsense. Now, obviously, I am a Republican. I'm part of the party. I'm an active member of that party. In fact, I just ran for office. I will continue to run for office, and I'm also part of the infrastructure of the Republican Party in Los Angeles. I hold several positions within that infrastructure, and I'll continue serving those roles because I love this party, and I want to help it grow. Even despite the fact that certain actors who have allegiances to foreign governments have constantly been trying to derail what I do. But that is all beside the point. I legitimately had fun in this debate. I really enjoyed debating Parker, Dean, and even Matt. I think there were a lot of things that got cut out of the debate, which is fine. I don't think anything that was cut out was really essential to understanding the overall conversation that we had. There were some funny moments that didn't make the final cut. For example, I did call Matt a retard, I think about 4 times total. I think only one of those times made the cut. And I did that primarily because I do think he's a retard. I actually think that he may be intelligent in some ways. I just think he's a little too dumb to see that he's perhaps become too committed to a point of view that isn't really serving America or American interests. Also, for some reason, this guy keeps saying I'm a Groyper. I'm not a Groyper. In fact, I'm too old to be a Groyper, and it's objectively retarded to keep insisting that somebody is something they're not. It's kind of like constantly telling somebody they're a Nazi or a white supremacist when everything they say and everything they do and even the way they identify themselves points to the exact opposite direction. Now, obviously, all that being said, you can be critical of how a group of people are treated without being a member of that group. That happens all the time. It's called being fair, especially on the internet where people get unfairly labeled constantly. And yes, I do believe that to a certain extent, Groypers are maligned on the internet to an unfair degree, primarily by the Israel First lobby. Again, Matt is very much a part of that Israel First neocon infrastructure. He calls himself a classical conservative out of the Dave Rubin School of Conservatism. I guess. Wonder how that's going for him. Anyway, overall, I thought the experience was really interesting. It was a lot of fun. At one point, I genuinely felt like I was in a time warp of sorts. I completely lost track of time. We were sitting in this dark room, shut off from everything, debating for what felt like hours on end, and eventually just felt a little disconnected from reality by the end. Then we just walked outside afterward, and I realized it was still the middle of the day, the sun was out. That was strange experience, but overall, it was a lot of fun debating those guys. I enjoyed the conversation, and I enjoyed the arguments, and I enjoyed the opportunity to exchange ideas with people I strongly disagree with. I think that's something we've unfortunately lost in politics. Too many people have become focused on teams, on optics, on clips, on narratives, and not enough people are focused on whether the ideas themselves are actually true, if we can truly find a middle ground. So regardless of where we disagreed, I appreciated the opportunity to sit down with all of those guys and have a conversation. All that being said, I guess I'll leave you guys with one of my favorite moments from that debate, so take a look at it. Plus, in a jungle primary, which is what he's in.
Can I hop in here at
Go
some
ahead,
point?
dude.
It's just difficult.
I just think that this conversation is a pretty dumb conversation to have. The reason why I say that is because Donald Trump won in the Electoral College and the popular vote in 2024. So if we were to sit here and say that the popularity of a politician indicates how terrible the policy of their opposition is truly like a false line of argumentation, right? Because we saw some of the very best domestic economic policy in modern American history from Biden. Then Donald Trump ran on being better.
Way, dude. No.
And then he takes our economy, and all of a sudden, every single
hold on, dude. Wait.
is worse off today than it was a year and a half
hold on,
ago.
dude.
And now all of a sudden, for the first time
That's
in a long
hilarious,
time,
brother.
there are less Americans who approve of the Republican Party and do approve of the Democratic Party.
That was one of the moments where Dean kind of made himself look like a fool. But to be fair, so did Parker and Matt in other moments, and so did myself. Now, I know that for most of the debate, they're all jumping down my throat. But that's the nature of long-form debates like this. Everybody has their best and their worst moments, and it's all there for the world to see. Now, obviously, Jubilee's audience leans heavily to the left, so naturally they're going to be more inclined to rag on the people on the right, that being me and Matt. If you look at the comments, a large percentage of them are people absolutely ripping into me over my election results, and that's fine. We'll look into the election later. I'm planning on making a video this week talking about Isaiah Martin's TikTok, where he very dishonestly framed my election results. So we'll break all of that down in a separate video, especially because his TikTok went so viral. So anyway, it's been an interesting few days to say the least. Going to be here for about a week, and during that time, I'll probably be posting shorter videos that are a little less commentary dense than my usual content. I don't know exactly how regularly I'll be posting, but I wanted to get this one out there because I genuinely wanted to share with you that I had a lot of fun doing this debate. I know the guys were kind of ragging on the experience in the end of the video, but I honestly enjoyed it. By the way, Parker did mention that he'd be interested in debating me outside of the Jubilee format. If he's still open to it, I'd be more than happy to do a one-on-one conversation with him. I think that would actually be a lot of fun and probably allow us to go deeper into some of these topics. You know, people end up getting entrenched in their point of view, and dialogue isn't always something that comes to fruition when people just pick a side and stay on that side and dig into that side. And honestly, I think most people are just human beings, and everything is a lot more nuanced than our politicians and the media would like us to believe. All that being said, I'm also curious why he stood by Nithya, and if he actually thought that Nithya had a chance, especially considering that ballot after ballot after ballot drop kept coming in and inevitably turned this around for her. Anyway, folks, all that being said, I hope you have a terrific day. We'll talk again very soon. Take care. Peace.